Hello, and welcome to the first Fraught with Peril episode. Divided by Werewolves. We are currently we had some technical difficulties getting the game started. People couldn't hear Mitch. Hopefully they can hear him now. So we're all good. So we are playing Broforce, and I just plummeted to my doom as Judge Dredd. So if Indiana Bro over there can stop whipping guys and maybe rescue me, we'll get on with things. Thank you so much. Robocop joins the battle. Awesome. Look at my American flag cod piece. Thanks for joining us and for sticking with us and for our technical difficulties. We got a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're gonna die like that. I just got crushed by Indiana Bro. That's fine. That's gonna happen. So, one of the things we want to talk about tonight, if we can actually manage to talk about things... Oh, I'm going to totally launch that thing on fire. You're going to want to get out of the way, dude. Is the Suicide Squad movie. It just came out. We both saw it last weekend. Reviews were mixed. You enjoyed it quite a bit, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Alright, well, before we do that, we need to before we talk about it so that people understand where we're both coming from, we need to set, I guess, a baseline so people understand your taste in superhero movies. Oh, shoot, that is a whole lot of guys. And my taste in superhero movies, alright? So I have some questions for you. If you can play, let's see. It says, you're very quiet, but I can hear me just fine. Game is mid-high relative to the voice. So, okay. Well, we'll see what we can do. I don't know how we're going to end up making this work out. But we'll figure it out in post. That's what they say, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so I have some questions for you. First of all, what is your favorite... we'll do recent, unless you have one that you can pull from a while ago. What's your favorite superhero movie, just so that folks know where you're coming from?
All time?
Whatever. Or recent. Whatever's easier.
Yeah, well, probably all time, I'd probably still say Dark Knight. But just because I'm such a fat boy, I think that movie is not only an amazing comic book movie, but that's just amazing. I mean, eventually that's what time's going to tell us. It's not just a good comic book movie.
Right.
It's just a good movie. So yeah, but if we're talking like,
no, that's fine. That's recent enough. I mean, that works. That works. All right. For me, I think it would be a tie between Dark Knight and Winter Soldier because I really like that. You know, in terms of the Marvel movies, Winter Soldier is definitely for me. I think Civil War is a close second, but Winter Soldier does it. All right. Your favorite superhero movie that other people typically don't like.
We're not going to talk about that now.
We can get, if we have time, we can get into it.
No, that's probably not. I don't know, man. I tend to enjoy things for what they are, and I have different taste for what yeah. I understand the hate for BS, but
But is that your favorite that you'd say of things that people didn't like that you enjoy?
Well, I mean, until last Monday, probably so.
Okay. All right. For me, I think it would have to be Superman Returns. I mean, I understand why people don't like Superman Returns, but I just love it so much that I can't. The stuff that I loved about it, even the weird deadbeat dad Superman stuff was enough for me to enjoy it. Okay. And then last one, and again, this is just for baseline purposes. What is a superhero movie others like? It's popular, people like it, but you can't stand it.
Can't stand?
Well,
that's tough.
Yeah. Bye, by the way. Payback, bitch.
So it's not that I can't stand it, but I was so excited for Guardians of the Galaxy, and I did not love that movie, and I wanted to so bad.
Really? Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, for me it's Kick-Ass. I do not understand why people like that movie. I think that movie is terrible. I don't think it says anything. I think it's garbage. and I do not understand why people enjoy it. And I think I might throw Super in there too. I don't really understand what the big deal about the Super was, but
the Rainn Wilson thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. I wanted to, but I didn't. But not because of the comic book thing. I wanted to love it because I love Slither. And,
yeah, me too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And I love The Office. I love Dwight Schrute, so I
right.
love that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, so now people understand where you're coming from, and they understand where I'm coming from. I'd say we both have fairly good taste, but I think there's definitely, obviously your Batman versus Superman thing aside, I don't really know if there's any way you're going to be coming back from that one. Okay, so Suicide Squad. You really, would you say you really enjoyed it, or was it just like better? It was better than you expected, and so.
I said this on Facebook or somewhere, like probably the day after I watched it, talking to somebody else. And at the time, I said it was probably my favorite comic book film this year.
Okay. You liked it better than Civil War?
I was still on the euphoric high of having seen it. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it even still does. But it's pretty fucking close to me.
Yeah. Okay. Now in terms of, I don't know how familiar. I wasn't all that familiar with the Suicide Squad in the comics. I mean, I know them more from like Arrow, than I did. Actually, I mean, I knew who Amanda Waller was and that type of thing, but I didn't really have much connection. I mean, obviously, I have more of a connection to like Harley Quinn from the animated series than I did from her being on Suicide Squad. Is that like one of the favorite comics for you, or just like about it, you kind of liked it?
It's one of those ones that was the only place I was going to get Deadshot, so I always read it.
Oh, okay.
Because I love Deadshot. And that's the thing, like, it's never been like my favorite book. I couldn't wait for it to come out, but I've always read it.
Right. Did you feel like they did a good job with the characterizations in the movie?
Did. Yeah.
See, that was.
I mean, the thing is, like, the premise is silly. Like, it is. And, like, people who have fanned it for that, I don't get. Like, I don't know what you expected. I mean, they're like, oh, Waller wanted to get, a group together to combat, a Superman level character. And, well, yeah, that's stupid. They picked an assassin and a lunatic and, whatever. That's true. But that's the book. So,
right.
They were never expected to go against Superman, sure, but, and people bitched about the villain, but, what Suicide Squad villain is there? Like, name one.
Right. Well, I'll get into that. I do want to talk about that. I just for the record, I did enjoy it. I don't know if I went into it with pretty diminished expectations, and so I don't know how much of it was just that I really liked it because it was better than I thought it would be, but I did feel like it had some problems. I felt like some of the characterization was a little, like, uneven. Like, it seemed like there was times when things happened that somewhat made sense for the character, and you and I talked about this on Friday night. Like, and by the way, we're not gonna, we're gonna talk about spoilers and things like that, so, whatever, we'll just have to deal with it. There's a scene when, and I'll try not to get too much into it, but Amanda Waller basically just, like, kills a bunch of people, and, Rick Flag is standing there with her, and she's just like, well, they weren't cleared for this, and he's like, oh, no, that's cool, I got secrets. And they had kind of painted Flag as being, he's not like a Boy Scout, but he definitely seemed to be more the type of person that you wouldn't expect to be okay with something like that. Like, he I wouldn't say he was by the book, but I think he was somewhat against what she was doing, and so I was kind of surprised that he would just be like, yeah, no, that's cool, instead of giving a little bit of pushback. So that kind of bugged me, and then, I know that, like, Deadshot really was into, like, it wasn't out of character for him to want to see his daughter, but I didn't feel like they really did a good enough job of setting up, like, that he would be okay hanging around the dinner table talking to her about how to be an assassin. Like, that seems, like I more got the impression that he really didn't want her to kind of be part of that world, and so he wouldn't have, like, encouraged that. I mean, I thought Will Smith was great, and I liked, some of the lines that he had and the conversations that he had with Waller, particularly at the beginning. But for whatever reason, I don't know, that some of that stuff just kind of felt like it didn't really belong.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that. All right, so I think the Waller thing was because Waller really is a piece of shit. And,
Right.
I think they were just trying to. I don't know if they just felt like they hadn't done a good enough job conveying that. Or like, I don't know, that whole scene you're referring to. Yeah, I was just kind of like, Jesus,
Right. Well, I don't mind. Here's the thing. I don't mind that she did it. I felt it was entirely consistent with what they had shown of her for her to do it. What I didn't think made sense was for Flag just to be like, yeah, no, that's cool, I get it, and it
Flag was mishandled.
And just like I didn't understand why some of the times he had a southern accent, some of the times he didn't, and I'm like, you can be in special forces and not be from the South. Yeah. Like, not every kind of career soldier is from the South. Occasionally there's some fine Yankees that join the military. Now, here's a question that I thought he was perfectly fine in the movie. I don't know if they did a good enough job in establishing why he should be there, other than the fact that Captain Boomerang is just in the Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah, the thing, forgive me, I forget the actor's name, it's so funny how many people actually said for the first time they didn't hate that guy.
Oh, really?
Good Lord, I read that a lot.
Jai Courtney Smith, or whatever. See, I don't really know him from other things.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. I'm sure I do. I'm just being stupid.
Well, no, I read that he's been in a bunch of things, but I couldn't tell you. Like, I can't remember ever seeing him in anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was good. He was, but in terms of like,
Boomerang's an asshole. Like, and he played an asshole. That's...
Right. I think it's more like the power set. You're kind of like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You are going up against a god, and then you're kind of giving him some bladed boomerangs. Like, maybe we should give him something more.
Yeah. Well, it's Captain Boomerang. There's only he can only be so cool. Regardless of who's playing him or what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's the guy that throws boomerangs.
Right, and the comics, the traditional garb with the little the little weird like airline captain hat or whatever they had for him, and all the boomerang blouse like that.
Yes.
Did you feel like it was two movies put together? Because I mean, that was one of based on the way the movie was made, that kind of is what happened. But some people felt like they could tell that more than others.
I read that a lot too. I don't know. I'm not a critic. I'm not an expert. I just watch movies, and I had no problem following the plot. It didn't feel like they just threw a bunch of shit against the wall and saw what stuck. Like, I had no problem. Yeah, they rushed through some characterizations, and I don't know. It's like they got 2 hours. They got an entire roster of characters that people don't know other than Harley Quinn and the Joker. And, some days they're going to have to get to in a hurry or maybe not spend as much time on it as likely. But no, I didn't feel like it was...
I didn't have a problem following it, but I did feel like from the tone that you could kind of tell some of the places where they added humor, like after the fact.
That I did, I picked that up.
And what's unfortunate is, from what I read, because the humor is what they added later, I think if the whole movie, not the whole movie, because obviously, you don't want them to be joking, but I think if it had more, the times when it was funny, I felt like it was, laugh out loud funny. And it didn't, and it wasn't like they were making fun of the characters or they weren't, they were being somehow inconsistent with the rest of the movie. I think that, it's just that I would have liked to have actually seen, more of that. Oh no! And so it'd be interesting to see when it comes out on DVD if they include a cut that was more like what Ayer wanted and how that would compare to what they came out with.
What I heard was that Ayer has said the theatrical cut is his cut. So
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay, so Autistic Angel
really
says Jai Courtney played Kyle Reese in Terminator Genesis. Oh yeah, that would be a bad. That was a bad movie. But that's a bad thing.
I don't know that
well, yeah, you're trying to be Michael Biehn. That's bad. You're not going to win that battle.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Thank you for that comment, by the way. That's helpful. Yeah. Well, what were you saying? Well, see, I know he was saying that it was his cut, but you know, if you read like the Hollywood Reporter, they basically said that Warner Brothers felt blindsided by the reactions to Batman vs Superman. Yes. So there was that, and then there was also the fact that they had put together that really awesome trailer that had like the, you know, music, Queen and that, and so they wanted more of something like that, and so they kind of went back and forth to get a cut that would satisfy both of them. So I'm kind of surprised. I don't know if he's saying he's just kind of being a good little soldier by saying that, or if he actually feels like that was the cut that he wanted to make. That doesn't mean that we'll ever see it. We probably won't. But, you know, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, they have to make concessions in the studio all the time. Like, if you remember when Age of Ultron came out, they had that really weird scene with Thor in the pool, and why is this Norwegian scientist telling a Norse god his own mythology, you know, and it's because they needed to set up, you know, phase 3, so Joss Whedon didn't have much of a choice. That's fine. Right. What are you, anyway? Oh, you're a predator. A predator bro.
Predator. Nice. Predator bro, exactly.
That's better than pedo bro, I guess. Pedo bro. Okay. So, here's a question, and this is not a criticism, this is a genuine question that I just didn't really understand. Like, how did El Diablo kill his... Like, I understand his wife, but his kids, I didn't...
He burned the entire house down.
Yeah, but was it like he got angry and lost control, or he accidentally killed his wife and was just like, well, I guess I don't want them to be without a mother, or... That was the...
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Because that was the one thing, I really liked him. I thought he did a great job. And I mean, I didn't know much about his character at all, but just kind of the attitude, the visuals that they used for him, that type of stuff, I thought was fantastic. But then when they kind of got to that part, I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then she's like, oh, you killed your kids. And I was like, okay, I get that. But I kind of thought maybe it would have been an accident. And she kind of implied that it was somewhat on purpose. So, all right. Now, how are you with Joker, and how are you with Batman in the movie?
All right. So, of course, I read all the shit about how the villain is supposed to be terrified of Batman. I did not pick that up at all. You know, my anything but terrified.
You know what my favorite part though is when Deadshot gets so like Batman goes to get Deadshot and he goes to pull a gun on him. It is his daughter stands in the way, and Batman just stands there like, hey, this bitch want to get shot in the face. That's her problem. You know, like. And I'm like, I would think Batman would have found a way to not put her in harm's way. Like, I just kind of felt like that was not, like, they are really not, they're really selling this whole Batman's an asshole thing, like, really, really hard. Oh, sorry about that.
That's all good.
And you're back. But so I thought that
Joker,
was... Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. That was... I love Batfleck, but yeah. So, you know, you have to suspend belief in stuff here. But... I think my broadcast up.
Oh, okay.
With Joker, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. I like Jared Leto. I did not like the look initially. Most of the tattoos bother me more than anything else. I'm fine with Jank the Joker though. Like, you know, I've seen that, you know, different places. It felt to me like, even with Croc too, they pulled a lot from Azzarello's stuff.
Yeah.
And I was fine with it. and I thought Leto was great. Like I loved him. I know a lot of people didn't. But
No, I thought he was good. One of the guys I work with was asking about it, and like if it was the same kind of feeling as with like Heath Ledger, and I said no. I said first of all, that's just not. I mean, you can't ask somebody to follow in those footsteps and expect. I mean, they have to kind of put their own spin on it. But what this kind of reminded me of was more of like the Batman, kind of in the animated series, but also somewhat in the '60s show, where each of the supervillains, they basically they had themed gangs, so like Captain Cold, his guys all wore parkas, and and it was more like that, like the Joker was more like a gangster, like a crime lord, and you didn't really get the feeling as to whether or not, did he believe this stuff? Was this part of his it was? They didn't have the same kind of mythology behind how he got to be the way he was. This is just an act. Was it makeup? Was it actually him? And I was okay with that because it was nice to have to not get into that backstory. I mean, aside from just his relationship with Harley, I don't really feel like the movie could have supported them going, okay, here's the Joker, here's what he can do. It's like, all right, at some point, movies have to assume that some of these characters, the audience kind of just knows basically who they are, and we're just going to go with it. So I was kind of glad that they did that. They didn't, take the time to go, oh, he fell on acid, and maybe he didn't. Maybe this Joker didn't do that. Sorry.
We're never going to stop comparing to all the other Jokers. And he has ridiculous, he has impossible shoes to fill, even in my opinion, if you go back to Cesar Romero. He's got to do his own thing, right? Because everybody else has brought their own thing to the Joker, and you expect, Jared Leto to go out and just redo Heath Ledger is so fucking unfair to me.
I agree. I mean, and
it just seems like that's what people want or expected. I don't know.
Well, but even
another thing. Go ahead.
I mean, their motivations were different. I think that's fine. Like, I mean, Heath Ledger in Dark Knight, his Joker was more almost like a force of nature. Like, he didn't have goals. He wanted to burn it all down, and then whereas this Joker, that's not his thing. Like, you could get the impression that this guy, he's got plans, and I think that's not an inaccurate portrayal based on some of the things that they've done with him in the comics, where, I mean, he's got a group of guys, he's got things he's trying to do. It's it's not, I mean, it's crazy stuff, but he still has plans. Whereas in Dark Knight, I mean, plans was the thing he was rebelling against. I mean, he had plans in terms of, what he was trying to do, but it was, his whole thing was to be against plans, because that's when things fall apart.
Right.
But I didn't have a problem with him at all. I mean, I was surprised that he wasn't in the movie longer. But I also understand that that's not his. This is not his movie. He had a purpose. Now, what did you think of Enchantress?
So I'm not, admittedly, not the biggest fan of the magical side of the DCU or any for that matter. I don't really dig that. I like Deadman, okay, and of course I love Constantine, and Dr. Fate, but I don't know, man. I thought she was fine. I mean, one-dimensional fuck, Go ahead.
I didn't have a problem with her until she changed costumes, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. I thought she was fine when she was creepy, Swamp Enchantress. I thought that was great. Yeah. I love the visuals. Oh, yeah. It kind of made sense in terms of, hey, she had been in an urn, or whatever you want to say. But then when she changed into that, whatever the hell, Disco Queen Xanadu Enchantress, she was doing that weird, they filmed that weird kind of herky-jerky type of movements. And
she was hula dancing.
Right. I was like, what the hell are they doing here? It made no sense. And it really, honestly, it took a lot of it away from me, because every time I saw her, I just thought, you look ridiculous. Like, you just look absolute. And I'm not a big Cara Devo, whatever her name is. I'm not a big fan of hers. Like, I don't think she's a particularly strong actress in the stuff that I've seen her in. But I don't have, like, I actually like the magical stuff. You know, I think probably more than you do. Like, when I was a kid, like, I loved, like, Doctor Strange and all the magical stuff, because I realized that I wasn't going to get bit by a radioactive spider, and I probably wasn't a mutant, but there probably was the opportunity somewhere for me to learn magical powers. So that was my ticket. That was my ticket to becoming a superhero, was to get magical powers. So that's where that stuff comes from for me. Which is, like, I am super excited for Doctor Strange. Like,
I could not care less.
Really?
No, I do not like Doctor Strange.
You know?
That movie looks terrible to me.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I like all the people who are in it, and I love Doctor Strange. As long as they don't put him in the feeding pajamas, I think we'll be fine.
Sure.
The question is, I guess, how trippy they're able. I mean, that's the thing. Like, now that they can do so much more with effects and stuff, it'll be interesting to see what they do without getting, you know, too inception-y with all the building, folding, and all that stuff. What's wrong? Oh yeah. All right. So. One of my problems with the movie, and I think this is just a problem with superhero films in general, is that they, like, every time it seems like they're doing it somewhat with the Marvel movies, but I think they're definitely doing more with the DC movies, is, you know, the kind of the threat escalation with every movie. So, like, you had mentioned before that they were sending, you know, these kind of misfits in to go fight almost like a Superman level threat. But yet, at the same time, you kind of feel like they have to, because, you know, they can't just have, like, people robbing a bank. I mean, you kind of, but at the same time, it doesn't diminish from the previous movies, but you do get to a point where you're like, all right, well, what are we going to do? Like, every movie, we can't make. I mean, how many cities are on the verge of being destroyed? You know, that for us to keep. You know, I mean, they kind of avoided that stuff with Wonder Woman being set in World War One. I mean, I don't even know how they're going to bring films into that, but it was World War One. I don't know if they don't necessarily have to. That's a big enough threat on its own. But I feel like, you know, the Marvel movies, they kind of. I'm not saying they did a better job of it, but depending on the movie that you watch, like Iron Man, he's just against the one dude, and then even in Iron Man 2, and then they kind of more slowly ratcheted things up. I mean, they're in the same situation as well now, because, I mean, once you bring Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet stuff, what are you going to do? Where are you?
Well, I have no idea. I don't know what to do. Get to that flag up there.
Oh, here we go. Here's a. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's like, you're doing Thanos. That's great. Will we, like, Galactus next? Like, you know, what do you? How do you have the Avengers or fucking Iron Man fight Galactus?
Right.
But, you know, and that's the thing, right? It's like, you got normal people, give or take Killer Croc, you know, and Enchantress and El Diablo, but, you know, mostly normal people, and, you know, they fight a witch. That's fine. You know, that works fine to me. I don't know what else people want. Like, I don't know what Suicide Squad villains want. Like,
well, for me, it's not so much like I agree with you. If they don't have an established villain, they can do whatever they want. I think it's the level of the threat. Like, once again, you know, we've got this whole potentially city-destroying thing. And then also, you know, and then he even started destroying, like, the top secret facilities and that type of thing. I'm just going to go ahead and die. So that was,
something's not right.
Yeah, something's not right. Who are you when you're are you Shaolin or? Mortal Kombat. Raiden, sorry, Shaolin was the name. That's terrible. So I mean, I don't personally, wasn't looking necessarily for like a Suicide Squad villain, but just maybe something that wasn't at the same threat level as kind of. Oh, there we go. That's what we're supposed to do. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Do you think this movie, because it did well, like makes a difference for like what their plans are moving forward?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm sort of like on this whole thing where I hate that they changed it because of the backlash from BVS. Like I don't know, man. I know it's not working, obviously, for everyone or hardly anyone other than me, but I just hate that they're changing it just because of that. Like that feels like such a wrong move to me.
Well, I don't know if they hadn't cut that trailer and seen the reaction, I think that had just as much to do with it, because it was a really good trailer. And the humor that was in it, and the songs and stuff. I mean, it kind of made you feel like, okay, this is a little bit different. Because I mean, the DC Universe stuff, they kind of made a point to not be like the Marvel stuff, maybe not do the same kind of, try to do the same level of humor and that type of thing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, there's certainly, it's not like Dark Knight, the Nolan movies were joke fests.
No.
But I think that it worked in the context of this movie simply because of the mix of characters that you had and the fact that they weren't like an established team. I mean, they were basically a bunch of people that they had to make do with each other, and so it worked. If they hadn't made that trailer, I don't know if they would have really kind of known a direction to go in, or even maybe wanted to. You don't know if they said, okay, well, we weren't thrilled with the way that BVS was received, and we now know that people like this tone for this movie, so let's go ahead and make changes. Without knowing that they were into that tone, they may not have even tried anything. So. But I know that it seemed like they were originally going to make 2 JLA movies, and now they're saying they're just going to make one of them. But if this thing does as well as it seems to be doing, I wonder if those would pick that idea back up. You still there? We're experiencing technical difficulties, folks. This is a live broadcast. This is what happens. I am currently off screen waiting for, I don't know who he is, Kill Bill, Kill Bro? I don't know who that is. That is going to try to come and save me.
Mission failed.
Oh no, we failed. We are bad bros. Alright, I'm going to try to take these bros on myself. Well, oh, looks like Mitch dropped out. Oh, there he is. What happened? Oh. Alright, all sorts of death. It's alright, it's a live broadcast, these things happen. So anyway, I was saying that they had originally planned on doing, looks like 2 JLA movies, and then it seemed like they cut it back to just one of them. So I don't know if they're like thinking, well, now they could go back or try the same thing further, or just stick with the Batman movie, and or what? Oh,
yeah, that's going to be interesting too, I think.
Because they had all these.
They do the Arkham thing.
Right. Well, they had also. I thought they looked like they were going to do a Flash movie and a Aquaman movie, and I don't know if they're still planning on that or what they're doing. Did you think it was weird to have the Flash like in this movie, even just briefly?
Kind of.
Yeah.
The other thing, the weirdest part for me, and this is I know is just me. I know it's the same guy. I know that it's the same actor in the jail trailer and in the BBS weird thing.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's the same guy. I have not one time to me he's like.
He didn't. He definitely doesn't look the same between the scenes BVS and the stuff they've done since.
Yeah.
Like he looked rode hard and put away wet in that movie. I didn't think it was the same guy either because I was like, who's this hipster motherfucker trying to be Flash? Like, no, what
I'm
is?
just saying.
Go buy a razor, dude. Come on, son. You got a job to do. But then, you know, when they showed him in the other things, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, actually, he looks, you know, like
He looks okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather have, you know, dude from the TV show, because I love that show. But,
Oh, yes.
you know, still, I was like, is that the same guy?
Okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Alright, so, is there anything else about Suicide Squad you want to say? I think we've probably covered it pretty well, but if you have any... Go ahead, man.
One other thing, and it's not necessarily strictly for Suicide Squad, it's just, you know, what a time to be alive, you know?
Right.
Like, my God, man, if you had told, the Suicide Squad is a comic book that I bought off of a rack in a drugstore when I was 9 years old. If you had told me that, you know, almost 30 years later, I'd be watching a movie in a theater based on that, I would have been like, you're retarded. You know, that makes no sense.
You know what?
That's
I think people who complain about Suicide Squad, that complain about superhero movies, I don't know if they were alive to watch David Hasselhoff be Nick Fury in an ABC TV movie. Okay, you know, you gotta keep in mind how bad things were for a long time too.
If what people are bitching about in Suicide Squad is their only complaints with that movie, like, I don't just be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, go watch a Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie, and then you'll feel much better. No, it's it is crazy. Like, I mean, when you consider, you know, just the stuff that, you know, they're able to do, and just the fact that, you know, the genre itself has kind of taken off. I mean, yeah, like some of the stuff that we grew up reading, to now be able to see a movie with it. I mean, that is pretty cool. Now, did you take your kids to see it, or are they?
No, they were in Virginia. I was there. They ended up having to go.
Do they still want to see it?
Yeah. Well, my son saw it up there actually.
Oh, okay. Alright.
And I had no problem with that. You know, there's some language, but other than that, it's a, you know, it's a movie.
Right.
So, you know, it's not like it's. I ain't got no problem in watching it. My daughter, on the other hand, I'm sure is dying to see it, but only being 8, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's the right movie for her. But yeah, I mean, my kids, they had no desire. They're just like, whatever. You know, but they're not. That's the thing. They're not really into it. They're not into superhero stuff. I mean, my daughter definitely isn't. My son, I mean, he's kind of hit or miss. You know. All right. Now, the next thing I wanted to get into, because we both watched this too, although you watched it first, was the Killing Joke, because I did finally get around to seeing that.
Sure.
Are you religious with the animated movies?
Oh yeah, I watch all of them.
Okay. So you're like me. Okay. I think this is the worst one, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's
good.
great about it is that it's my favorite comic book of all time, and this is the one that they fucking misstep on. Really?
Here's the
really?
thing, though.
This one, guys.
What I was surprised about is how thin the story of Killing Joke actually is.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that it's not important in terms of like what they did with it with Batman and his relationship with Joker, but when it comes down to just like from a narrative perspective, there really isn't a lot there. I think what sells it is the imagery that they're able to do in the comic itself, and that's, I think, where one of the ways in which, just because you're taking a property and you're making a movie or a TV show or whatever out of it, there are still some visual aspects of the comic book format that makes a big difference when you're presenting that story.
Yeah.
You know, kind of in the same way, like the way that they did panels in Watchmen, that they then, you know, they try to redo some of that stuff in the movie, and you're like, yeah, that just doesn't work. I feel like, you know, like, I think part of the reason they added all the stuff with Batgirl that they did is because, when I was paying attention, once that stuff ends, the actual Killing Joke part is only
Killing
what?
Joke
Like,
begins.
it's like 40 minutes though.
Yeah.
It's
Not that long of a story.
Right.
That's my problem with it. That's my problem with the movie. Yeah, I agree. Yes, it is absolutely the worst one. The problem with it is because they tried to make it a 40-minute movie. You know,
Right.
if that's all you got the material for, if that's what you're gonna add to it, just give me the. I'll watch the last 40 minutes of that movie. I will watch forever.
Right.
The first 40 minutes of that movie, I'll never watch again.
Right. And I think, though, the part of the problem is that they said that they felt like they needed to give Batman more of a reason to care about what happened to Barbara, which I don't know is necessary. Like, especially the way that they decided to do it, which, for those of you who didn't see it, so Killing Joke is a story in the Batman comics where basically Joker gets out and he wants to essentially break Commissioner Gordon, and the way he does it is he shoots Barbara Gordon in the stomach and paralyzes her, and then takes all these like nudie photos of her, and in the hope that he can break Commissioner Gordon and just show that like anybody is one bad day away from basically turning into somebody like the Joker. Well, in the comics at the time, I mean, Batgirl was important, but she wasn't at the same level that I think she is now. And so there were some criticisms that they basically just kind of did that to her to motivate other people in the story, as opposed to, you know, out of any sort of, I don't know what the word would be. Certainly not love for the character, but not because the character had her own value outside of just being somebody to hurt to get Commissioner Gordon upset. And so they decided to change that in this movie by making Barbara Gordon like a petulant child who then has sex with Batman on a rooftop after they get in an argument. Which was ridiculous. Like,
That scene, man, that hurt so bad. And I was in the theater, I was like, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. I could not believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And the thing was, it was so funny. The theater was divided. One half of the theater, there was a collective, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
And the other half of the theater, there was a collective, no. Those were the two reactions.
Like, nobody was like, woo! Like, if one guy did that, no. They were like, yanked him out into the parking lot. Yeah, hot sex. Here's, honestly, I mean, I didn't like that it happened, but what made it worse, and I understand why they went with these voice actors, but hearing Kevin Conroy's voice in the character for that moment was not right. Like, I love Jason O'Mara, his work as Batman so when they do the JLA animated movies, Jason O'Mara does the voice of Batman, and I was like, that would have been a much, much better choice, because I just see Kevin Conroy, and I mean, the guy's older, he's been doing the voice of Batman since, like, what, 90, 91, yeah, and I mean, so, I mean, he's been around the block a little bit, so that just made it even, like, creepier and older that he was doing it, you know?
I'm like, I can't imagine having to be the poor bastard who sent him that script.
Oh, right, like, I know, right?
And was waiting for that response, because I'd have been like, first of all, I'm sorry. We really want you to do this. I totally understand if you say no.
We hope you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's frustrating about it is they were, you know, when you read the interview with, like, Brian Azzarello and whoever else, Bruce Timm, I mean, they basically were like, hey, man, that's just where the story went, and we just were like, what choice do we have? That's what we have to do. And I'm like, okay, I don't...
No.
You don't. Yeah, right. You don't. You know, it's the same thing where, I mean, at the end of Man of Steel, people were like, well, why did Superman have to break his neck? And you know, people were like, oh, well, it's because Zod's going to do bad things. It's like, well, no, it's because that's what the writers decided. And at the end of the day, that's, you know, it's not like the words appear, you know, magically. A writer wrote it, and that's what the writer wanted to do. So to be like, oh yeah, man, that's just where the story went. We didn't really have much of a choice. It's like, okay, I don't think that's how that works. I am not a professional writer, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in all those creative writing courses, you know, your muse shows up and it's just like, no, we're doing this. And you're like, okay, man, relax.
Yeah, they've spoken.
Right, exactly. Yeah, in fact, after hearing about it, I was like, I'm not sure.
I didn't know. I had no idea. Like you said, I heard about some of the changes they made. We talked about it when I was going to the theater. You're like, I heard about some of the choices, and I don't know. And I was like, oh god, what did I hear? You know, like.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought you had already heard about it.
No idea. No idea. It completely caught me off guard. And I was one of the ones who was like, no. Oh god, and it was so funny. When we left, and we still joke about it, like, because I went with a couple friends. I didn't see this person particularly run out of the theater, and we joked with it, but there was a trail of vomit. All the way up the runway or whatever, little walkway out to the doors, there was vomit. I was like, we know where that came from.
Yeah. That's funny. I don't know why my receiver.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Still cutting out?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, but I thought, again, like I said, I bought it, and I'll watch the last 40 minutes forever. It's my favorite story, but I'll never watch that first half again.
That's understandable. I mean, I usually like to get them because I like the movies, but also I like to see what they're going to do next. But this one I'll just have to make do with not having it be a permanent part of the collection. Probably not. All right, so we have a few minutes left. I don't want to go too much over an hour, just because YouTube takes forever to upload things. I have played some more No Man's Sky. I don't know if you were able to watch the stream yesterday with all of my fun. Well, I know you were watching. You were trying to watch. You were playing Overwatch.
Yeah, I watched it live, sort of, and then I watched it today at work. I worked really hard at work.
No, I hear ya. I totally did not spend a bunch of time trying to get the frickin' YouTube upload to work while at work. I would never do that. Never. So I've spent some more time with it, and I gotta say, like, the inventory management stuff is just really annoying. I like everything else. Like, I like the exploration part, but I understand that, like, you just have to get to the point where that's not a big deal. Like, you can buy what you need, but it's like I don't even know where to go to try to get inventory slots or whatever it is I'm supposed to get that would make this easier. So right now, I've got a bunch of prompts to open up the hyperdrive menu and go to different places. But if those places don't bring me to, like, a space station or something where I can buy inventory slots, I'm not sure it's going to make a difference. Because the inventory stuff, it is annoying. Like, you have to juggle between your suit and your spaceship, and then you come across cool stuff, but then you can't pick any of it up because you don't have any inventory space. So you're not going to go back because I don't think there's a way to know. There might be a way to warp back to where you've been, or at least like go to it on a map. I don't know, but oh no! I should get an achievement for that, trophy or something for that. Yeah. So I mean, I'm still gonna stick with it. Don't get me wrong. I still want to play it. I still want to. I know you can get to the point where you've got more inventory slots, but I'm just kind of surprised that that's basically what it is right now. So
yeah.
And I mean, it wouldn't be such a big deal too if when you found new technology and blueprints, you had to use an inventory slot to apply it. So like, I have grenades. I can't make a grenade launcher because I don't have any more room in my little gun there, multi-tool thing, in order to make them. So I have to wait until I can get a better one, and then I can, actually make it better. Rochetti. So, but I have named more planets.
Yeah, that part was neat, but I gotta tell you, I wasn't like sold on the game already, just because like I don't know.
It's not for everybody. I definitely can tell you that.
Right, and I didn't think I was gonna like it.
Uh,
What I saw, what I read, I felt like way overhyped. That may not be the case, but for me, I just did not. And I was gonna wait and see what everybody's reaction were, watch gameplay,
yeah. I can understand that. I mean, I look at, when I see people play, to me this game is very much almost like a Terraria or like a Minecraft type of thing, where you do have some of this inventory management stuff that is a big part of it. And well, honestly, when I watch other people play games like that, and I've played Terraria, I'm just like, I don't get it, or Don't Starve or whatever. But in this game, I have a spaceship, and that really makes it a difference. And I know that's dumb for as little time as you spend, but I figure if I can get to the point where I can be flying around, maybe I can get some fights or just get to other places and see what the planets look like that's enough for me to keep trying. But I totally understand why other people it may not be their thing.
Yeah, I will say though, out of all those games just named, like I did play Minecraft. This one looks more interesting to me, but not enough to drop $50.
Right. And honestly, I was surprised that at that price when that was the price that they announced. But whatever. It is what it is. Sometimes, I mean, I typically don't spend that much on something new just for the sake of it being new. But with this game, I did want to kind of see what it was. I paid a premium for that, so hopefully it'll. I try not to let buyer's remorse, be a thing that
right.
I worry about when I'm talking about a game or whatever. But oh shit, I just died.
Oh jeez.
We're all
Jesus.
dead. Yeah. So all right. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest? Well, this is our first inaugural episode where hopefully people can hear you.
Yeah, just again, it's fun. I'm looking forward to this. Hope people watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope this goes for a while because this is a blast.
Absolutely. So in terms of this is when we do all the boring where to find this type of stuff. Let's see, so dividedbywerewolves.com, that's the Tumblr site. We also have a Facebook page. If you go to facebook.com/dividedbywerewolves, you can go to YouTube, that's youtube.com/C for reasons I still don't understand, and then /dividedbywerewolves. Every show that we do, every stream that we do, will go up on the YouTube channel afterwards, so if you missed it, and you can't make it, definitely check out the channel, do the whole like, comment, subscribe, although I hate saying that because that's like the worst thing that I think those are the worst phrases entered into the English language in the past 10 years. But we do hope that, you come back, you can follow Mitch at with twitch.com, twitch.tv/rotundbatman, twitter.com/Mr_Bones, and then I am Twitch TV, Mr. Binky, all one word, same thing on the Twitter tip. We do have a Twitter channel for the show as well that is DIV/BY Werewolves, all one word. That's the problem with social media. You're kind of out there beck and call, so to speak, in terms of picking names. They don't always let you pick what you want, but we do the best that we can. So thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate coming by. Our plan is to do this every 2 weeks at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then of course we'll do individual streams in between. Maybe we'll have some Overwatch highlights. You're more than welcome to follow along with Drunk Watch on Friday nights. We do that around 10. Buyer beware, I guess it's the best way I can say it. We are not our best selves during Drunk Watch, but we do have a good time. So. Alright, so thank everybody for joining us, and we hope to catch you around the next time.